Well, Mr. Ken Kaufman, this is your 13th year doing the Expo. Tell us about its origins and how you decided to develop this great event called New Living Expo. What was the impetus?
Well, it goes back into the probably early 80s when I was selling my massage tools called Body Tools nationwide, and I was exhibiting at the shows in Whole Life Expos in LA and San Francisco, sort of hawking my wares and tears. And that's where it started, because before I became an owner of the Expo, I was an exhibitor, and what makes a difference there is being from that standpoint of being an exhibitor first, then being an owner of the show, I try to make sure that the exhibitors are as happy as possible, because I was that in that way too, so I want to make sure that that's utmost importance.
Absolutely. Well, let's go back a little bit. So when did you take over the Expo? And as you mentioned, it was initially called, was it the Whole Life Expo, and then sort of migrated into the New Living Expo? Tell us about that.
Well, it started at Whole Life Expo in the early 80s. That's the original origin. I bought it as a franchise with a partner of mine in 86. We bought the right to do the 87 show and beyond, just San Francisco. And then 12 years later, running the show for, that many years, and then the last few years, we started taking it around the country. We did our first show in Austin, Texas, in 96, outside of the Bay Area, and it was a huge success. We did Fox Free Friday. We had Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, having 1,000, 2,000 people in an audience. Mind-blowing. So that really started us off on a note where, wow, these shows are really good to take on the road.
Sure.
2 years later, it wasn't so good. I was doing 8 shows around the country. They were going way expense beyond what we were taking in. And so somebody I heard was interested in buying it, so I loved the idea of taking it to the next level. I was kind of burned out after doing it for 12 years.
Sure.
And the last 6 months of the show, I was probably losing money. So I was happy. So then they took it over, and then the first owner had it for a year, lost $1 million.
Wow.
And he sold it. And then that next person lost about $4 million after a year and a half. And so after 9/11, when they canceled a couple of shows, LA and Chicago, I talked to the current owner at the time, which I never even met, and I said, I'm interested in maybe doing another Whole Life Expo show, and what do you say? Well, he offered me to do the show, but he said, we have to give me 50 booths first, and I said, well, at first I thought about it, but then it didn't sound like a very good deal, so I said, I'll pass on that. What happened is that when I sold the Expo in 98, I signed a 3-year non-compete clause as a standard agreement. Well, this happened to be synchronicity timing. 3 days after that expired, I was signing the contract for the 2002 Expo with the Concourse Exhibition Center, which I've been doing shows for, a decade or so. So, they were like, oh yeah, we want to have the show, and, this guy decided not to do it, but he waited too long, and so his date that he held the dates for expired. He didn't pay the deposit, so I jumped right in, this 3-day expiration thing, and jumped on the dates. So by the middle of January of that year of 2002, I was starting back from scratch, creating the first show that I was back in the saddle doing,
Wow, what a history, what a trajectory, really.
Yeah.
And I'm sure since 2002, Ken, you've seen this grow exponentially. The Expo has grown exponentially, pun intended. I know we talked offline, and you said that you're expecting upwards of 12,000, 13,000, maybe more. What do you think this burgeoning interest is due to? What's going on here?
Well, there's always this, a few years ago it was the green movement, everybody's recycling. That was a big hot topic. Now, it's about mindfulness and being more, slowing down is really big now. So I think what happens with the Expo is that it just sort of brings together sort of what's currently going on with people and what their thoughts are. They don't like what the government's doing. They want to do something about it. They want to, be active. So there's a lot of things at the show to get people involved, to give them some products or services to connect with and networking with that they wouldn't normally find if you go to the health food store or a New Age bookstore that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, product services and just, nice connecting, and that people, they're just drawn to it. And I think that we're sort of discovering more and more about personal development and how important it is.
Yeah.
This is the first year I'm actually going to do a talk. I haven't done a talk in 25 years.
I know, I saw that. You're doing two, I think, right? You're speaking on a panel and you're also doing a lecture. I want to get into that. That's jumping ahead a little bit. You've got, let's go there. You're going to be sitting on a panel called Spiritual Capitalism. I love that. Tell us really quick, Ken, what's that all about? And I know there's some neat people sitting on the panel, including our friend Dannion Brinkley and several others.
Well, it's Dannion's brainchild idea. He invited me. I really don't know much about what that spiritual capitalism means, so I think I'm going to be looking to learn what that means for everybody too. I think he's looking at it like, oh, this person like myself. Why he invited me is because he's sort of made something from nothing, and that's like the capitalism type of meaning. I'm not 100% sure that this is where he's thinking, but that's my only guess is that's why he wanted me to be included, as part of this panel, which I think it's an honor for me. And when he invited me, I thought, well, it's the first time, so maybe that's something I need to look at for the future and maybe do this. So, it came up where this one lecture room was open. We didn't know who was in it at 5 o'clock on Saturday. We had this name that nobody knew anything about it, how it became about, so we just held out on thinking, well, this person's going to send in an application within a few days, and we'll find out who it is. Never happened. Still to this day, the person who we know is booked in that spot never surfaced. So we said, before we went to press for the program, I said, well, we'll just take it ourselves, me and my wife, Corrina, and we'll call it kind of spiritual gems, where people will experience and share the gems that they use in their life to keep it exciting, motivating, fresh. And we made a determination when we got married that we were going to kind of be on a honeymoon for the rest of our life.
Love it. I love it.
Just be that and not have, the typical things in relation. I mean, we have the ups and downs like everybody else does, but we have that in the back of our minds to create the most awesome relationship we can possibly do. And I think we want to share that with people of what we've experienced and what we currently do, and let other people share what they do that works for them. And so everybody in the audience will get a taste of what it takes to make a relationship work.
That is great. That's sort of an impromptu, sort of back and forth interactive discussion. I like that.
More of a really panel discussion than you would normally find. More of a discussion than anything else, but we just wanted to, open it up for the audience to share what little beautiful things that they know that they can use to enhance their relationship. So I think it's going to be just exciting to hear the stories that people will tell, and given, what the parameters are,
That's great. I have some thoughts right now, and you mentioned you and your wife have been working together for so long, and I think we said offline as well. I was actually talking to your wife a few days ago, had a great discussion that my husband and I had worked together for years and loved every minute of it, and just that ability to, it's interesting you mentioned honeymoon for life, because you do have your ups and downs, but by and large, Ken, I can say the same thing, that we have been on this grand adventure, let's say, that has lots of honeymoon type moments, and in the process you are creating, and you're creating spiritually. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're having the thing is that we do it because we're having fun in doing it. We're just like, two little kids, almost 60 years old, and we act like little 25-year-olds probably,
That's age is just a number, that, but having fun is really, I think, one of the keys of staying young. So that's fantastic. Well, I know our audience is going to want to hear about, let's just call this just I don't want to say killer lineup, but I mean, this is the who's who of speakers in the New Thought space. I mean, we're talking Marianne Williamson, Ken Wilber, Laura Eisenhower, our friend Dannion Brinkley, David Wilcock, Dick Gregory, Susan Negrin, Gail Thackeray, it goes on and on. Tell us a little bit more about some of the things that they'll be talking about, if you can think of a couple.
And if anybody's chiming in and wants to hear Dick Gregory live on TV in Arsenio Hall Friday night of the Expo, if they're up late, I'm not sure how late he is. That's probably pretty late. Yeah, you could TiVo it, my wife's saying. But, you could hear him speak, right on TV, which is great.
That's great.
I think it's just the dynamic aspect of the show. It's interesting how it comes together because I invite maybe 30 or 40 different speakers to want to speak at the show. And from that, there's always this handful, 6 or 12 that say yes, some of them every year, like Dannion. But at the same time, I try to rotate people who haven't been there for many years and sometimes maybe 10 years. I try to bring back some of the Whole Life Expo best of speakers, and I rotate so that way people don't see the same show every year. And then if you're really good, like David Wilcock and Gail Thackeray, then we try to have them, back again because they're hot, and people, they want what's hot. So I think we sort of put together a nice blend of a mixture of, different great speakers that, we've come to love over the years, have written a lot of good books and that kind of thing.
Well, I'm thinking in terms of how over the years can the subject matter, when you think New Thought, it's a huge scope of subjects. I mean, in myself as an interviewer, I'm running the gamut. I mean, whether it's health and wellness, fringe science, yes, conspiracy, the paranormal, the environment. Haven't you seen sort of a, what do I want to say, a metamorphosis, or not really a metamorphosis, but really just a branching out of subjects. So, it's not just we used to use the term love and lighters. The love and lighters are also sharing the space with the little dark corners of conspiracy, and it's all kind of coming together because it's considered necessary information, wouldn't you say?
It's all coming together in a way that people will understand it and be open to it. I think people are sort of ripe for this information where maybe in the past they were more, interested in themselves and what the world's doing and being more skeptical and not be open. So I think people are more opening up to, the possibilities that are there that, now people are just looking at it and going, oh yeah.
And the Expo, hi.
Hi, Corrina.
Hi.
I thought I heard you in the background. Everyone, this is Corrina, Ken's other half. I'm not going to say better half. I'll say equal half.
Well, just thinking that the Expo makes it such a user-friendly way to get into this field too. If you're kind of skeptical or wondering or whatever, I mean, you can even talk to these speakers often.
Sure.
And so you can get up close and personal with these people that are talking about things that might sound really strange, but I remember years and years ago, we had this really goofy friend who was saying, "See those things in the sky? Those are chemtrails." And then I'd say to Ken, "What do you think?" "I don't know." And so many people go, "Oh, sure, of course not." And then 10 years later, you find out they sure are.
They sure are, yeah.
So
yeah.
We're just finding out more and more.
We are, and I think people are starting to. It's very difficult to digest, a world behind or under the hood that we could not have fathomed years ago. And again, I think you and I were talking about the whole. I try not to call them chemtrails as much as a program, the climate engineering program or the geoengineering program. In fact, they were spraying and are spraying as we speak here in Massachusetts. I'm looking at them right now. It's quite disturbing. But again, as I was saying to Ken, I think that it's a matter of having a whole picture of the things that are wrong in our world, marrying them with the things that we can do to combat some of these things, so we can have a whole solution. So I think it is important. Well, you
said something. I want to repeat something you said to me, which was I thought wise. You said that we really are pretty helpless. You didn't use that word, but you said that we can't really do a lot about all the different things that are happening out there. It's good for us to be informed and everything like that, but the most important thing I want to get to, because I'm not paraphrasing well, is what you said was what we can do, what we really need to learn how to do is how to take care of ourselves so we don't, so we can be as healthy as we can be while everything that's going on is going on.
That's right. Absolutely.
And I've thought of that. many times since you said that, and I thought that was really wise and a good thing for everybody to learn. You know, what's the most that they can do? How can they eat as best as possible? What's the best water they can drink? You know, what vitamins should they be taking? That sort of thing, or shouldn't they be taking? Yeah,
absolutely. And I have to say, Corrina, even more so, along with that comes. I talk about spiritual sovereignty, you know, the ability to explore and investigate through a spiritual lens. I think you need that balance as well. It's not just what we're putting in our physical bodies, but we're putting in our energy bodies.
Absolutely. How are we thinking? And the whole thing about how you talk even steps.
That's right.
My book, how you talk. I mean, you attract things to yourself that you say. I had this friend who would always say, I don't have any money, and she never had any money.
Well, of course.
But I always felt like there would always be enough money, and there always has been.
Yeah.
So it's so important to notice how you speak and how you're thinking, and
you got it.
Wise,
Yeah, you got it. Well, listen, Ken and Corrine, we're winding down. I know you're going to have people coming from all over the country and probably all over the world. Now, there's still time to register, whether you're in the San Francisco area or not, right? Tell us a little bit about what people can do and where they can go to get more information.
Well, the first thing to do is go to the website, newlivingexpo.com, and that has the whole program guide. You can look at it online. It breaks it down into speaker directory. You can see who's speaking, what time and day, an overview. You could see who's exhibiting. If anybody's out there that still needs a booth and they get this call and to hear this soon, we have about 10 spots left.
Oh, good. Okay.
But registration, the key to this show is that it's very affordable. Money is not a factor of coming to attend this show. If it is a factor, we have many remedies for that. One is we only charge $15 to get in, and it includes everything for the day. You can buy a 3-day pass for $30, but it includes all the workshops, lectures, panels, body movement area, yoga classes, everything. And if that's even too much, if you can scrounge together 4 cans of food to support the San Mateo Food Bank, we'll let you come in for the day.
I love it.
We don't want money to be a hindrance of wanting to come to attend this show and check it out, because there's so much there to enjoy and to explore.
Wow. Well, we know that money is a hindrance for a lot of people these days. I love what you're putting out, the two of you, the energy that you're putting out. I can see your heart is absolutely in the right place. This is great. New Living Expo, April 25th through April 27th. That's a Friday through Sunday. And you're in a new venue this year, correct?
Yeah, we moved from our home from San Francisco Concourse to our new home in the San Mateo Event Center. We're very excited to have real speaker rooms with walls and a much more concrete and sustainability show where there's lots of parking. You don't have to worry about that because they have 2,000 parking spaces. A lot of things that you can enjoy in a place where you don't have to worry about where am I going to find a place to park, and there's a lot of good things to do, and we've tried to expand a little bit, bring some music into the show. We have an some more outdoor activities. We have a wall that you can paint.
Oh, wow.
Very creative. We just signed that up last week. Called an art wall. We've got a meditation tent outside. Just nice things that we can sort of build on over the years.
And Corrina would like to add.
Corrina, add. Go ahead.
The Comfort Queen. Remember to bring things like, or definitely have your most comfortable walking shoes. Mm-hmm. You might want to bring a little backpack to put all your goodies in that you collect. Maybe a little notepad if you go to a lecture. To lectures, you might want to take some notes. A water bottle that you can fill with good water during the show.
Right.
And definitely dress in layers. It's California, dress in layers, from your little light top to a sweater.
Gotcha. Well, I'm taking notes here because I'm so excited that I will be flying out along with my husband from the East Coast. Although we're having nice weather today, it's almost 70. But I'm looking forward to getting back out there and seeing this wonderful, wonderful expo. Well, to the two of you, absolute kudos and Godspeed. You go, guy and gal. This is good stuff.
I look forward to seeing you there.
I can't wait. Thank you so much.